Today we're going to learn about linear functions. So linear function has a equation of y equals mx plus b, where b is y intercept and m is the slope. So this is how a typical linear graph looks like. It can look like this. It could start here. So it could be positive. Labeled my x and y axis. Or it could be negative. But it will always have a y-intercept. It could be positive y, it could be a positive and negative. So the y-intercept always starts with 0 and then some number, let's say 5, or 0, negative 3. It's on the y-axis. Okay. So let's look at the slope. So slope for the linear function is m, or it's rise over run, or here's the equation, y2 minus y1 over x2 over minus x1. You see, y2 does not equal y squared. This is a power, and this is what this y2 is called, a subscript. Okay, so let's say you have two coordinates, -3, 4, and then -1, -2. So we'll label this x1. So we want to find the slope. So we'll label this one x1, y1, x2, y2. So it's y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. So our y2 is -2 minus 4 over x1 is -1 minus a -3, right? So that gives you -2 minus 4 is -6, and then -1 minus a -3, that becomes a positive, so that's 3 minus 1 is 3 over 2, and that gives you -6 over 2 is -3. So over 2, yeah, it's 8. So that gives us our m, right? But we're not done. We only found the m. We want to find the linear equation. So we have y equals mx plus b, right? We found the m. We got to find the b. Okay, so we can do what we do is our coordinate was negative 3 and 4. Negative 3 and a 4, and then negative 1 and negative 2, and we said that our slope is negative 3, right? So we use the y equals mx plus b. So we have to pick a coordinate, so I'll choose, try this one, and then we'll just plug it in so we can find b. So this is our x and this is a y, so 4 equals m. Our m is negative 3, right? And then our x is negative 3 as well, and then plus b. So negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9, so 9 equals 4 plus b, and then subtract 9 from both sides, and b equals 4 minus 9 is negative 5. So our new equation is y equals negative 3x minus 5, and to graph it, it's really simple. Okay, so negative 5 is our b-intercept, so it's always on the y-axis, so it's 0 minus negative 5. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We know it's going to be this way, right? Because of the negative 3. Okay, so we know it's going to look like that. So first, our y-intercept is 0, negative 5, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we can go up 3. See, do you see this negative 3? There's also a 1 over. So remember, slope is rise over run. And it's going this way, so we could go up 3, 1, 2, 3, left 1. We don't go right 1 because it's not positive, so it's gonna go. It'll go that way. So but we want it this way, so it's left 1. So we go up 3 more. 1, 2, 3, left 1. 1, 2, 3. Wait. So 1, 2, 3. Right here. So it's gonna look something like this. Right. Oh, my x, and here's my y-axis. So that. Okay. So another way you could do is use what's called the point slope form, right? Point slope form, if that sounds familiar. So point slope form is y minus y1 equals m x minus x1, right? Okay, let's say I'm given these two coordinates, negative 1, comma 4, and then 2 and 3, right? First, label it. It's very important to label it because you can get really confused. So this is x1, y1, x2, y2. We want to find slope, right? So slope is, so m is 3 minus 4, and then 2 minus a negative 1. So that gives you 3 minus 4 is a negative 1, and then 2 minus a negative, you could put parentheses if you get confused. It would be 2 plus 1, so that's 3, so m equals negative 1/3. Okay, so we found the slope, so now we gotta pick a point. I'll choose this coordinate to plug it into the rest of the equation. So we need a the reason why I picked a point because we need a y1, right, and an x1. So y minus 3 equals negative 1/3 x minus, or x1 would be 2, right? So that equals negative 1/3 x. I'm just distributing it, so negative 1/3 x. Negative and negative is a positive, so that's 2/3. And then we have a y minus 3, and we want the y by itself, so I'm going to add 3 to both sides. So get the LCD, so that's 3. So that's 3 times 3 is 9, plus 2, so y equals negative 1/3 x. 9 plus 2 is 11 over 3. And that is our linear equation using the point slope form. So okay, we know how to do that, so let's talk about parallel. Does that sound parallel lines? Does that sound familiar? So it basically means we want to find another linear equation that is parallel. So here's x and y. We'll call this line 1, right? And then we want something parallel. It's going to look something like that. So line 2. So how do we determine that two linear equations are parallel? It just means that their slope m1 and m2 must be equal. That's all it means. That's all it means if it's parallel. So let's do an example. Let's say you're given we want to find an equation that is parallel to y equals 3x plus 2, and it goes through the line 1 and negative 4. So all we need to know is so we want another equation. So the m must be the same, so this must be the same, but the only difference is our b is different. That's all it is. So we know, so 3 is going to be the same, so it's y equals 3x plus b. And they give us a clue, so they know that our point is 1, negative 4, so we'll label this x and y. So all we got to do is plug it in. So our y is negative 4, and our 3 times 1, because our x is 1, plus b, right? So keep solving. So that's 3 minus 4 plus b, and subtract 3 from both sides. So b equals negative 7. So the linear equation that is parallel to 3x plus 2, and that goes through 1 minus 4 is y equals 3x minus 7. So if you were to graph it, here, can you see it? This is just a rough estimate. It's not going to be detailed. If you want detailed, you could just put it in the graphing calculator in the. So y equals 3x plus 2 is going to look something like this, right? It's positive, so it looks something like that, right? Because it has a y-intercept of 2, and then negative y equals, this is y equals 3x plus 2, right? And then y equals 3x minus 7 somewhere around here. Here's negative 7, has a y-intercept of negative 7. Go look something like this. Y equals 3x minus 7, right? So you know that they're parallel because their slope is the same. Now we're going to learn about perpendicular. So the rule is their slope, m1 and m2, when multiplied, will give you negative 1, right? That's all it means. That's how you know when two linear equations are perpendicular. So this is line 1, right? And then perpendicular, it just means it's like a 90-degree angle, right? Perpendicular. So here's line 2. So when multiplied both of their slopes, it must equal negative 1. So let's do an example. So let's say you are so like you are given 3x minus 4y equals 8 and has and contains the point -2, 1. Can you see that? Whoops. Yeah. Can you see it? Okay. 3x minus 4. So we want a line that's perpendicular. First step is make this equation to the y equals mx plus b form. So subtract 3x, right? Subtract 3x from both sides, so you get negative 4y equals negative 3x plus 8, and then divide that by negative 4. So y equals 3/4 x minus 8 divided by negative 4 is 2, negative 2. So what would be our new slope for the next one, for the next line? It would be so m1 is 3/4, right? And then the next one would be negative 4/3, right? Because when multiplied gives you negative 12 over 12, which gives you negative 1. So you got to follow the rule. So when m1 times m2 must equal negative 1. Okay, so our new line. So our new line for the for line 2 would have a slope of negative 1, and since they give us, when they give us the clues, you always have to use it. So we use the linear equation, y equals mx plus b. You can also use the point slope form, but I like this one because it's easier. So so here's our x and our y. So our y is 1 and our slope is -1, right? I mean, not -1. It's -4/3, right? -4/3. So it's -4/3 x and then plus b, right? So 1 equals -4/3 and our x is -2. Remember from the point they gave us, plus b, and then do the algebra. So -4 times 2 is positive 8/3 plus b and 1. Subtract 8/3. So that's like saying 1. That's like saying 1 minus 8/3, right? And we could say 1 is 3/3 because 3/3 is the same thing as 1. So that's what's 3 minus 8 is -5. -5/3, right? So our b is -5/3, and then our line for perpendicular is y equals -4/3 x minus 5/3. And that's how you do the perpendicular. Okay, so we could do more examples, right? So we know how to do the linear equation, we know how to make sure it's parallel and perpendicular. Okay, let's do another quick example. So let's say you're given the coordinate 1, 3, and then 3, -5, and all I want to do is find the slope. So how do we do that? First step, label the x, y, x2, y2. So it's very important to label it because you can get very confused. So it's -5 minus 3, y2 minus y1, and then x2 is 3 minus 1. So that gives you -5 minus 3 is 5, 6, 7. -7 over 3 minus 1 is 2. So our slope is -7/2. Right? Okay, what if they give you a line y equals 0.5x minus 9, and we want to know is they want to know is what is the slope that is parallel to this one. That's easy, right? We know that slope must be, in order for a parallel to be to linear equation to be parallel, m1 must equal m2. So so the slope would be 0.5. Okay, that was an easy one. How about let's do let's say you are given x minus 2y equals 3 and containing the point -3, 1. So we want an equation that is perpendicular. Yeah, they want a line that's perpendicular. Okay, so they're given this and it contains this. So we want a line that's perpendicular. First step, get y by itself. So x minus 2y equals 3. So subtract x, and you're left -2y equals negative x plus 3. Divided by -2 by both sides, everything. So y equals positive 1/2 x minus 3/2. So m1 is 1/2, right? So what would m2 be? Remember, so it would have to be -2 over 1, -2 over 2. So m2 has to be -2, right? Because when you multiply m1 and m2, it should equal to -1, right? So we know our new. So m2 equals -2, and we're given the point of -3 and 1, right? So here's x and y. So remember the linear equation, y equals mx plus b. So y is 1, and our slope is -2, and our x is -3 plus b. So 1 equals -2 times that by -3 is positive 6 plus b. Subtract 6, so b equals 1 minus 6 is -5. So the line that is perpendicular would be y equals -2x minus 5. And okay, what about how about so how about we want to find an equation that the line with a slope of 2 going through 1 minus 2. This one's simpler. So they said we want to find an equation with the line with a slope, so m equals 2, and that goes through 1, -2. So remember our famous linear equation, y equals mx plus b. You have to memorize this. So we know that y equals 2, right? Because the slope is 2x plus b, but we don't know our b, so we'll find it out by using the information they give us. So he said our line. So our y is -2, and then our 2, and then our x is 1 plus b. So if you do the algebra, so that's 2 plus b minus 2. Subtract 2 by both sides. So our b equals -4. So our equation is y equals 2x minus 4. Okay, what about